Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is Empire, season 5, episode 6 and 7. And the name of episode 6 is What Is Done, and the name of episode 7 is Treason, Stratagems, and Spoils. Now, before I so to get started, let me recap some things that happened in episode 6, because I definitely I watched the episode, but I just didn't record a video. Some of the things that happened in episode 6, we see that Cookie and Lucius realize that they need to get new artists on Lion's management, so they kind of make a wager that whoever wins gets on top that night. So we see that Cookie decides to do a massive call to all 5 bureaus to find the next big sensation. But while she's out there, we come to find out that Portia, but we know the girl that plays Portia, she's not only a phenomenal lyricist, but she's also a great dancer as well. So she's multi-talented. But we see Portia start spitting, and I'm like, shoot, there's your act right there. Because Portia was trying to get her cousin signed to Lion's management, but her cousin was good, but he was pretty much mediocre. So she tells her cousin that he needs to do some mixtapes and get his feet wet more, and we'll see about it. And then we get a visit from this woman who really looked out of place, and we come to find out she's Maya's mother. So what happened is that Maya has completely fallen ever since Pound Cake had passed. So her world's been turned upside down, and Cookie goes to her aid because her mother, she hasn't been really reaching out to her mother, and her mother's worried about her. We see that Maya up in there smoking, she doing all kind of shit, and then she's dating this guy who supposedly says that he has this trust fund and that he goes to an Ivy League school, but we see that this dude is a drug dealer and he's on some messy shit and he's too comfortable. So here it is, she gets caught with a package that he told her to deliver. She gets caught up with it. Cookie bails her out and says that, okay, I need you to pack your stuff so I can get you away from that boyfriend of yours. Cookie gets to the apartment later on. She decides to change her mind. I'm going to stay here. And she's like, this dude is taking advantage of you. He don't love you. He's just using you to get ahead. And it didn't take long for him to whisper some sweet nothings in her ear. And she was all about her dude. And then she starts going back like, well, how do you think I felt after I found out that I was a product of a jailhouse rape? What you think my life was gonna be like? And here you is trying to fix my life. Won't you fix your life? I mean, hell, you was with a man who let you go to jail for 17 years, and then you got all these issues with your kids and all that. Won't you worry about you and stop trying to fix my life? You need to be fixing your own. Because honestly, who have you really helped? Whose situation have you really fixed? And I'm like, oh, Maya tripping. Because first of all, boo-boo, I understand where Maya was coming from, though, that after learning this truth about yourself, that's definitely something that's going to shake you at the core. But that is when you should have been reaching out to Cookie more after that. And Cookie would have been there. But you chose to deal with it on your own, and you just decided to fall apart, and now you just making dumb decisions. You with a dude who's practically using your ass and don't give no fucks about you. But I guarantee if she get caught in another situation, she gonna be there trying to ask Cookie for help again. So another thing we saw in this episode is that Hakeem does this diss track on Blake, and he puts it out there, but we see that he is still going through it. He ain't showering. He hasn't showered. He's just all out of it. Andre is the one that kind of pulls him by his bootstraps and lets him know, you need to go to shower and we're going out to eat. So they finally get to sit down and talk, and Hakeem lets it be known how he feels about him killing Anika or whatever, and he pretty much let her know that, yeah, I feel sorry. I do understand why you feel the way you feel, but you need to understand where I'm coming from, because we can go back and forth with this all day, but my son was killed when she pushed Rhonda down those stairs. My son would have been 5 years old today. And it makes me think that's why he has this close kinship with Quincy. Because it's him trying to be the father that he always wanted to be, but never got the chance because of Anika's ass. So, Hakeem, he finally got Hakeem to realize, bitch, yeah, it's messed up that the mother of your daughter's dead, but she wasn't a good person. Anika was very messy, very calculating, very shrewd. Like, come on now. She wasn't a good person. And he was saying that, look, she took my wife from me, and she took my son. My son would be 5 years old today if it wasn't for Anika. Yeah, I may have taken Anika, but you still have your child. I never got a chance to be a father. So they kind of mend fences with that, and that was cool. Now I'm going to talk about Jamal and Becky. Jamal been having cabin fever with Kai ever since they got engaged. So 3 days they've been locked in an apartment just licking and screwing and doing everything. Woo! And, Kai pretty much says he's going to be leaving. And he said that, but he tells him that Becky's going to be coming by. And he says that, yeah, but if she's here by the time I'm getting here, I'm getting butt naked and I don't care. It's me and you. So we see that he invites Becky over, but then he's like, well, you need to be out of here because Kai's coming back or whatever. And Becky wasn't hearing that. She's like, man, bump that shit. We supposed to be bunking out. We supposed to be having fun. I came with my onesie. You need to get your onesie. And we need to do this shit. And then she was saying that, oh, so now you choosing your boyfriend over me and shit? Yeah, but little do you know, it's a little bit more. So we finally, so we see that, she, later on, she comes out the bathroom, and we see that Jamal got on his onesie, and he's eating some stuff out of this Ziploc bag that was in Becky's purse. And Becky's like, what the hell are you doing? And he was like, I just got hungry and I decided to eat something. And she says, those are my edibles. That helps. They help with my anxiety. Those are my edibles. What are you doing? So he is high as shit. High as a damn kite. And then all of a sudden, they hear Kai coming. She's like, come on, let's hide. Come on, let's go. Becky, come on. And I'm like, that whole scene was just hilarious. Kai come in, he's like, I can see y'all, right? And, next thing you know, we see that he ends up eating one, Kai, so that eases Jamal. So they all high, geeked up, talking, going back and forth. And, Becky was like, oh yeah, you know how you used to be a hoe, Jamal, and I had to say, out of all the guys you've been with, I had to say Michael was the best one, the guy that he was dating in season 1. Oh, Kai definitely got in his feelings about that, like, excuse me, what do you mean he was the best one? Because if he was the best one, then why is it that I got the ring? And Becky felt some kind of way, because she was like, you proposed to this nigga and you ain't tell me? Like, seriously? What kind of bullshit is that? And she pretty much was about to roll out, but Jamal stopped her, and he's like, look, I know I'm being an asshole, and I should have told you. I should have let you know. But then she begins to tell Kai, like, yo, Kai, when I heard about you being missing, I ain't give a damn whether you died or not. I just didn't care. But now that I got to know you a little bit, I will feel kind of sad. I'm like, y'all horrible. They were just doing the most. So we saw that go down. Then we see, as far as Lucius on the other end of how he's gonna make his mark, he decides that he's gonna get into this high stakes poker game, and what he does is that he takes a jewelry that was a gift to Cookie for their marriage. He pawns it, but tells the guy to hold it, and so once he gets the money, he'll buy it back. But meantime, he has a replacement that he's gonna use, so that Cookie won't expect nothing, so she won't expect anything. So we see that one of the players in this card game, and he's using Thurston to hook him up with this. Thurston was the one that told him about the this high stakes card game, and one of the players is this record executive who has this artist named Carlito, who's killing it right now on the charts. Lucius wants him on his management team, and he was saying that, look, this guy, he's got an artist that's thriving, but he is bad with money, and he has been borrowing money like crazy to get into this high stakes game, and he always loses. So he's like, oh, okay, so fuck it, I can kind of hustle old boy to get into this shit. So they get into the game or whatever. One of the players who was originally a part of the team, was sick and was no longer able to be there. And then this guy comes in, and he's played by Wood Harris. I think his name is Damian Cross. And we already can tell that Damian is a shady character. But him and Lucius, speak the same language. They about that treachery, and they about getting theirs by any means. So the game is being played and everything. Lucius won this hand, and the guy who is Carlito's manager, they let him know, you have reached your limit as far as loans. We're not giving you any more money. So pretty much now the stakes are high. There's a big pot, and he can't put no more money. So Lucius tells him, okay, won't you throw in Carlito in? So if Carlito in. So if we win, I get Carlito and everything. So he gambles on Carlito and ends up losing the whole hand. And then the next thing you know, we see that there's a raid and people with guns, and they pretty much robbing everything. And it's funny that it so happened after Lucius won that these people came in there. And what happens is that Lucius leaves and helps Damian Cross to leave as well, because Lucius was a part of the damn hit. Because Lucius be on that straight up thug shit. So he ends up getting the money and all of that, and then all of a sudden him and Thurston have a moment, and they talk about it, and he was like, well, you almost got everything, and Lucius like, what you talking about? He says, that dowry that you had him hold, somebody offered him a lot of money, he ended up selling it. And he's like, well, we gonna need to find that shit. But because he was like, yeah, but due to the fact you got the replica, you got some time. But yeah, we need to find out who got that painting. Tell me why the hell the damn painting's sitting in damn Damian Cross' house. The damn painting's sitting on the wall, and Damian Cross is sitting right under it. So we already see he's going to be on some bullshit. Now, also another thing, which also ties into last night's episode, the three black divas, which the main girl, the lead singer, is played by Tisha Campbell. They up in there in the studio with Giselle and Becky, and they are delivering some damn good music. I mean, since Lucius got them back on Empire, they got a whole new sound, a whole new swag. Because we remember when we first met them, they was up in mini malls performing old school shit. Now they doing new music, and they've got a big fan base. And Kingsley is just on some bullshit, because Kingsley shuts down the session, tells them that he's dropping them, and we ain't got time for the crappies, these old crappies and all of that. We need to focus on new artists. They are of the past, and their time is over. And Becky even got to the point like, dude, are you deaf or something? Like, you didn't hear that good shit that was coming out of those speakers? Are you serious? And Giselle tries her damnness, because she believes in the three black divas. She knows their talent. She later on tries to go to Kingsley and with a dossier to show that, look, they have a big fan base, and if you can put money behind them to go on a tour and to get all the support, they will definitely bring in a lot of money. Kingsley's still on this shit. They're old school. They don't fit with the algorithms, and they're not happening right. They're not happening, and I don't want nothing to do with them. I'm dropping them, and there's nothing you can say that's gonna convince me otherwise. Giselle pulled the card. She was like, this is some personal shit. Because this is the group that Lucius created. This was the group that Lucius discovered. And you would rather destroy a great group than actually help them to win because they are affiliated with Lucius. So we begin to see, yeah, Kingsley got a damn personal agenda. And then episode 6, they touch on it. We see he folds this picture up, and it's one picture of a woman. We don't know who the woman is, but we see he has like some star object, and he squeezes it so hard that his hand bleeds. So I'm like, this motherfucker's crazy, and he got a damn vendetta. And we later on find out in episode 7 what that vendetta is. But yeah, so we saw all of that go down in episode 6. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. But so therefore, in this episode, we see that the 3 black divas are still the topic of discussion, because, you know, we saw in episode 6, Giselle was so pissed off, saying that he's nothing but a damn computer geek who don't know shit. You know, he wants to drop you guys after all that good music you guys did, and he wanted to get rid of you. Like, what the fuck is wrong with him? He ain't shit, but I got a plan. Giselle, along with old girl, goes to Lucius' house. So they bring Lucius in, and their plan now is to have Lucius be their manager. And, you know, they set up a meeting with so pretty much what ends up happening, they decide to collaborate with Lucius, bring Lucius and Cookie in, you know, to help keep 3 black divas on the label. So now they, you know, Lucius and Cookie are now their managers. So they try to set up a meeting. They set up a meeting with Kingsley. Kingsley still is trying to say, no, I'm not here for it. You know, he even worked on some new music with them and presented it to Kingsley. Kingsley still saying no. And like, it's getting to the point that Lucius want to beat this boy's head in, because he's like, you stupid motherfucker, how the hell you gonna turn that down when that's some... And then like pretty much Cookie's like, don't even worry about it, he's beneath us, screw him. And we see pretty much you got the 2 teams. You got Giselle and Kingsley versus Cookie and Lucius. Cookie and Lucius saying that, look, we need this. So we are going to work this deal out, because at the end of the day, we're going to come out on top on this one. Then Giselle is also playing that, look, you don't like Lucius, fine, but let them do the work and we can make all the money off of this. There's a lot of money to be made from this deal. So you need to invest in their promotion. You know, they want to do a showcase, yeah, fund it, do it all. But we're the ones going to make the most money off of it. So let's do this damn thing. So finally he agrees. They finally shake hands. He says, okay, we got a deal. You give me something, we can you know, we can do some, give me something and we can do something. So that's what it has there. Then we see that Tiana meets up with Hakeem at a park. You know, they talk about that, you know, about Hakeem's diss track against Blake. But then she says, I'm glad that you take it. She says, it was messed up that you did that shit, but I'm glad you take it down. And then she says that, can you take the kids for a few days? So we see that slowly but surely she's, you know, she's beginning to include Hakeem in, you know, as far as being a parent. But she says, you make sure that Bella goes to bed on time. I do not want you to mess up her schedule. So we see that Tiana is working. She's been taking care of the children. And we see that Hakeem is now starting to get into his grown man shit. And he does even more so in this episode, and I'm going to talk about it. So then we see that Kai and Jamal are kind of going, you know, are back at his place. And they going back and forth or whatever. And then they get, you know, a buzz at the door. And it's Winter. And she's played by the fabulous Joss Stone. She comes in there like, hello, Jamal. I'm actually here because I'm on your label and I wanted to finish my album, so I came here to finish my album here. So where am I staying? You know, just made herself at home. And I actually have to say, Joss Stone is a very soulful artist. And I was so happy that they did this episode where they actually showcased London's soul, because London has a very big soul scene, soul and R&B, you know, classic soul. I mean, so many great artists came out of London. I mean, when I think of London, I think of Joss Stone and Adele and Duffy and Amy Winehouse, Leona Lewis, Loose Ends, you know, Delegation. So many great British artists that have done major contributions to soul music. So I was glad that they showcased that in this episode, because we see Joss Stone was singing the house down, honey. And she wasn't singing, she was singing. And Cookie was just loving it. And then Cookie tries to push up on her, trying to get her to sign with Lions Management. And Jamal was like, stop trying to take my artist. She signed with me. She's my artist. You know, and Cookie still was trying to pull her moves, trying to get Winter to sign with her. And we see that Kai has a sit down with Jamal, and he says that, look, you're a grown man. You always welcome her control. And it's about time you are a grown man, and you have the right to tell her what you want and what you don't want. You don't have to keep letting her walk all over you. And we know the reason is she's like that because she's overprotective of Jamal, and she always has been. You know, Jamal has been her baby. So we pretty much see that we pretty much see that, you know, finally Jamal lets her know that, look, you need to leave my artist alone. She's my artist, and you just can't keep trying to take my artist. And she was like, yeah, she's your artist, but she's in my studio using my equipment. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, well, yes, ma'am, we are. But it was a cute moment, though. And so yeah, we always see that. So then we also see in this episode that Cookie, you know, we see Cookie working with Portia, and then her sisters Carol and Candace are there, and then we see her nephew Franklin, who's Candace's son. And you know, there was a situation where Carol, you know, lost her graphics, and he pretty much says, oh, it's a beelage. And you know, like, beelage is for bitch, meaning it's just you know, a computer problem, but I can fix it. And then Candace is like, you know, he's really happy to be here. So we already kind of getting the sense that something's going on in Candace's house, because Candace again is showing up with bruises, and we're beginning to think that it's her husband Nathan that's been physically abusing her, because they're in the midst of getting a divorce. So then we also get a scene between Terry and Andre. Terry, we see, when we first see her, she's arguing with the attorney, because the attorney's pretty much saying that, look, there's no solid evidence saying that Quincy's innocent, and without that, we really don't have a choice. He's just gonna have to rot. And you know, if you can come up with something solid, we can do something. But Andre lets her know that, look, you know, I'm gonna lead a massive campaign. This whole town's gonna know who he is. We're going to build a mass movement like Black Lives Matter, and we're going to get this boy out of jail. And then we see later on, she opens up about, like, you know, he sees a picture of Quincy with his father, and she lets it be known that, look, I wish I would have helped him I wish he would have had a closer connection with his father, but I didn't want him to be involved in that bad element. But maybe if I did, he would have been street smart and would have known what to do and what not to do involved, you know, when coming involved with the police. And the next thing you know, one thing leads to another, and Andre and Terry get it in, baby. Then the next time they see each other, she was saying that, look, I know I had a moment with you, but my main focus is my son, and that's what I need, and that's where I should really put my focus. And pretty much Andre was like, no problem, I understand. But we see earlier, before that happened, Andre goes to meet with the inmate, the same inmate that put that hit out on, that kind of carried out that hit for him. We see that the two of them meet, and he says, well, how's Quincy doing? He's like, I told you I got him. I'm looking out for him. He good, but he's getting to the point where he could crack at any moment, being behind these walls. So he's like, but then he's kind of wondering, why are you doing all this, man? You just fresh out. Why are you coming back caring about this kid? What is this kid to you? And I'm thinking, like, the thing is, he kind of sees Quincy like the son he always wanted. And he actually sees himself in a position where he can actually help someone else. And he can actually help a kid who's innocent. So, pretty much, Andre comes up with this thing like, look, I need a huge favor. But trust me, if you do this for me, I'll make it worth your while. So then we see later on, Terry gets a call from the courts. They let her know that someone has pleaded guilty to the robbery, so therefore they have to release little Quincy. And Andre set the whole damn thing up. So, because he was promising her, I'm going to get him out of jail. You mark my words, I'm going to get him out. So he got somebody to take the bid. So now Quincy is now free. Now Quincy's going to be released. And then we also see Becky and Giselle have a moment, because Becky's like, look, what you doing going back, trying to play between Lucius, because she pretty much saying that, Kinsley and Lucius don't like each other, so either way one of them's gonna fall, but at the end of the day I'm still gonna be winning. And Becky was like, bitch, you need to stop playing these damn games, because the last bitch you did this shit ended up falling to her death on a table full of champagne glasses. I'm like, you better call it. And then she's like, first of all, I'm better than Anika. I'm smarter than her and all this shit. And besides, if you actually made some moves yourself, you would have gotten further in your career than you did. There's nothing wrong with making moves, honey. And Becky was like, whatever, heifer. So I'm like, Becky trying to warn your ass, you pulling all this messy shit, you gonna get yourself fucked up. So therefore we also see when, earlier when, because I forgot to mention this, when Kai and Jamal had that conversation, he never told his mother that he's engaged. Everybody else knows except for Cookie. And he was saying that, you give her the space where she controls you, so you don't need permission to be your own man. You just have to take your spot. So pretty much afterwards, he finally confronts Cookie and says that you're not taking my manager, you're not taking my artist, Winter's mine, and I'm a grown man, I'm not a boy, and I'm now a fiance. And now I have a fiance. She's like, oh, so you engaged to Kai now, and you talking about doing shit behind people's backs? How come I didn't find out about this? And then we come to find out everybody knew about it, and Cookie was the last one to know. So Cookie felt some kind of way about that shit. So therefore, now I'm going to kind of talk about everything about Candace's situation. Now, Candace been coming up with these bruises and shit. We see that her son, Franklin, is very timid and very, like he's scared. And both Cookie and Carol confront Candace about it. Candace is like, first of all, mind your damn business. Ain't nothing going on. Is nobody beating me. And another thing, I'll beat both of y'all asses if y'all don't stay out of my business. And then, like, Cookie's like, deny. She getting her ass whooped. I'm like, Cookie just calls out the bullshit. I'm so here for it. Then we get a scene where Kevin actually comes to the office. And she says, and she's like, I thought I told you not to come visit me at work. And And he's like, look, I need the key to get into the house. And why the hell did you change the locks? And she says, because we're no longer together. You moved out. Why didn't you get your shit the first time? And then all of a sudden, he's saying, I need to get into the house. And then from the tension, you would think that, yeah, he's abusing both his wife, his soon to be ex-wife, and his son. Because even the little boy was, Franklin was like, I don't want him over that house. I don't want him over there, Mom. And she tells him to give up his key to his father. And he's like, Mom, I don't want him there. I don't want him there. She's like, okay, we're going to go take care of this. And they end up leaving. So days go by. Candace hasn't been back to work, and she's not answering her phone. So Cookie, as well as Carol, decide to go over there and see what's going on. We see that the house is in a mess. We hear Candace screaming. We hear glass breaking. And then the next thing you know, we see that Candace is getting her ass beat by her own son. Cookie tries to intervene. He beats up Cookie. He knocks Carol down. They pretty much go into the bathroom, Carol and Candace, to get away from him. He pretty much breaks down the door like The Shining with Jack Nicholson. Like he was giving straight up psychopath, gone wild. And what Cookie ends up doing, she ends up calling the police. And she was saying that, look, you need to calm down, Franklin. Calm down. And he pretty much puts down the metal, it was like a metal like candlestick holder or something like that. He puts it down, and she kind of calms him down, but he's still looking back because it's obvious this guy has a serious problem. And we come to find out he's actually 19 years old, and he's physically abusing his mother. So the cops come in. They had their guns drawn, and she says that, look, he's not armed, he doesn't have a gun, but they can see that he was still edgy, so they shocked him. And then all of a sudden, they get him, and they pretty much, cuff him, and they take him up out of there. And Candace gets so damn mad that she punches Cookie, and then says that, you called the police on my son? How could you do this to me? And you are not my sister, and I never want to see you again. I'm like, Candace, if she didn't do that, he was going to fucking kill you. But then again, I understand Candace because it's a mother's love. That's still her son. She still loves her child. But sweetie, your child is mentally ill and he needs help. And it goes to show you how a lot of African Americans don't take mental illness seriously. And it's not something to take lightly. But then Cookie is kind of shooken up because she was like, he was going to kill her. Why is she mad at me? But then we see that she goes live and she pretty much talks about, y'all see that I'm messed up today, but I got into it with somebody that is very close to me. And no, it's not Lucius or my boys. But just to show that, who are we to call when we need help? As far as the police, I had to beg the police not to shoot. And then they put a stun gun on them. Why is it that as soon as they see black people, their first aim is to shoot? And she's like, who do we call when we need help? Who do we call when we need protection? When we can't even get that from our own police force. So that was a PSA, and it was deep. And I was so here for it. So then we see that Lucius decides to invite Kingsley over for dinner. But before he goes to dinner, he pays a visit to this woman that's been in the picture. We come to find out that's his mother, and he's got this vendetta against Lucius, and he's saying that, oh, now he's invited me over. He's trying to will me in, and I'm going to get close, and then I'm going to take him down. I'm going to make him pay for what he did to you, and all this shit. So then we see that he's there eating dinner with them, and Lucius begins to kind of pulls Kingsley by his chain. He says that, look, I'm going to show you what made Empire what it is. It wasn't no algorithms. It was no just making the business moves. It was about actual talent. And he was saying that, you know, then he started, then like, you know, while they was in dinner, Kingsley starts throwing jabs like, well, you were a thug, you know, you were a hustler. I mean, do you care about the people that you hurt or the people you screwed over to get to what you have? He was saying that, look, you don't know what it's like to be poor. So you don't know that I had to do what I had to do to feed my family. I didn't do that just for me. And no, I don't apologize for doing what I had to do to feed my kids. Because I put my kids before myself, and I hustled to give them a better life. But he said that, but the thing about it, I realized that I had something great, and I just manifested it. And he says, if you kind of come to the studio after dinner, I'll show you. So we see they in the studio, and we see that damn Kingsley is soaking, and he is just mad and just as simple as he want to be. But then we kind of see that they have a little session. Jamal jumps in. Then we see Hakeem jumps in, and he's seeing all of this musicality being displayed from the from the Sons. And then he says that even Andre is somewhat musical with business, because you can give him a problem and he'll give you 100 ways to solve it. You know, everybody has brought a contributing factor to what made Empire a success. The reason why it's a success is because of the talent, because of the creative force, and because of the collaborations. That's what makes a company thrive. And then we see that he's half smiling, and then he's fighting not to smile. But we see at one point he kind of is kind of like inspired by what's going on. And then he sees that he actually has something in common with Andre. He's sharp at technology and business, and Andre is smart at business. Interesting. So then we see later on, after this whole thing, he goes back to visit his mother, and he was like, oh yeah, he sat up there and, you know, had me. Hold on, let me find out what he said. Let me get this. Oh yeah. He was like, oh yeah, he thought he was cute by sending me over there eating dinner with his family. They up there looking like a ghetto Roman Knockwell painting and shit. I was like, wow. That was a dig like no other. He said he looked like a ghetto Norman Rockwell painting. But then he said that, you know, Diana Dubois was right. You know, the way to get the lions is by taking out one of their own. And then we see that picture he had with his mother. He flips it, and it's a young Lucius. And he was saying that, and then he was like, so how is that for you, Dad? And I'm like, oh shit, this damn Lucius got an illegitimate son that he don't know nothing about, and he got a vendetta because he's thinking that because Lucius left his mom, it probably turned her to drugs and all of that, and his mother is literally in a coma. So anything's possible with that. But yeah, so that's pretty much what happened in this episode, and this was a really good episode. And I think Empire and Star, since next week is Thanksgiving, they'll be back the week after Thanksgiving. So I would have to say that yes, I am really ready to see what's about to happen next, because as soon as it's going to be the fall finale. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of Empire. So until next time, everybody, take care.